My name is Sarah Glover and I am an outdoor chef, which means basically I just like to cook in places like this. We are out here in Joshua Tree, which is in California, the United States of America. And yes, I am driving a right-hand car because this car is Harriet and she is from Tasmania, Australia. I shipped her all the way over here. So we are in here and we're trying to find a camp spot to set up for the night and cook some food. Look at where we are right now. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere, cooking on a rock. Get your eggplant, get a knife, slice it in half, lengthways like that. You might want to do this on a chopping board so you don't slice through the eggplant, but you're just trying to score your eggplant, so you don't want to actually go through the skin of the eggplant itself. I've got some ghee in here. I've just heated up in the Roccbox here. Rub it into the flesh of my eggplant. Now I've also got just a little bit of chili. It was left over from the season. I smoked it for a little bit of extra flavor. Now I love cooking with ghee. It gives everything this really lovely depth of flavor. Now I've got my Gozney. It has been heating up already. It is above 400 and I've popped in a cast iron frying pan. Get our eggplant and we're gonna place it face down in. You can hear that nice smear in my pan, like sear, into my little pizza oven. And I'm just gonna let that get a little bit of color and start to soften and reduce down. So you wanna keep your Roccbox on the lowest setting on it just for this initial part before we add anything extra on there to give it that golden crunchy flavor. Just get me behorned. I can already feel it with my hands starting to soften on the inside. So you're just wanting that flesh to cook because that lovely flesh is what we're gonna scoop out and eat and add to our salad. My dressing for my eggplant, teaspoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of mirin and 1 tablespoon of sake. Sake is also really delicious to have a little drink of. Stir and then dip my finger in. Wow. The other awesome thing you could do with this eggplant dish, if you've got any leftovers, is just scoop it out, pop it into a container, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil over the top of it. And next time you're making pizzas with your buddies, just whip some of that miso eggplant out and pop onto your pizza. Oh, now this is looking awesome. You can see that it's really starting to reduce down and cook there. That's perfect. I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna add all my miso on top of this now, and that's gonna caramelize perfectly. I love to cook with my hands, and obviously I'm out here in the wild, and I didn't bring a pastry brusher or anything like that. Holy heck, that looks so good. Give it about 4 minutes in there. Delicious umami flavors are going to be produced in a matter of seconds. I don't think I even brought a fork out with me. I could find a stick. It's got a little bit of leftover butter here. I'm going to throw on it. You do want to be able to rotate whatever it is that you're cooking. So I just shifted my pan. Every little inch of eggplant gets an opportunity to caramelize and get crispy and delicious. Smells insane. Eating my hair, great. It's not just for looks. That's amazing. This is exactly what you want to be looking for. This beautiful bubbling happening. That's all the juices of our eggplant coming out. It's softening up. I'm really happy with the way this is looking. It's got all that beautiful color on top. It's only just going to keep cooking within its own juices. Add my dressing over the top of it. And then I've got some trusty sesame seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle over the top of my eggplant, and I'm just going to throw it back in there to get a bit more color. You'll find you'll just get a much more creamy, nuttier flavor than if you were just to eat them raw. So that's...
Put a period on that sentence real quick.
Dot. I am so happy with the way this is looking. Now, because my pan is a cast iron, it's going to keep a little bit of residual heat. I'm actually just going to let this thing rest for about 10 minutes before I'm going to dig into it, or I will literally burn my mouth. Lucky I've got a rock here handy. Just going to enjoy the view. so hungry. My eggplant has rested nicely now. I've just got a little bit of spinach leaf that I'm gonna add to the bottom of my pan. You could add any type of favorite green that you have. I'd maybe serve this with like some chicken. I'm gonna be making some pork in a minute. I'm just gonna stab it. All that eggplant is softened perfectly. As you can see, it didn't take that long to cook, maybe 15 minutes total. It's the crispy bits for me, guys. Everyone loves a little bit of pork on their fork, a minimum of 400. So you need to make sure that thing gets piping hot. My favorite little utensil, which is a cast iron frying pan. I like Granny Smiths. Granny Smiths are probably the best type of cooking apple. They've got a nice water content in them and like a lovely sugar content, as well as like nice bit of pectin, which gives you that kind of like tart flavor. So we're gonna start this recipe by cooking down our apple first. I am such a fan of like cooking everything in one pan and having less washing up to do. Just gonna do a rough chop on our apples. I like keeping the skin on my apple because that's where all that lovely tart flavor is. Gonna throw in a bunch of ghee. We're just gonna toss that in our Gozney and we're just gonna let that start to reduce down. It'll probably take about 4 or 5 minutes in there. So these are pork chops that are actually boneless. You could do it with the bone in if you want, give them a nice season. I've got some beautiful Tasmanian sea salt, which is actually where I'm from. Season that, just gonna give it a couple of minutes. You always wanna bring your meat up to room temperature. It's not gonna seize up and go really tough. All the water in the apple is starting to evaporate and open out, and it's gonna give us a beautiful base to throw our pork in. Got some garlic here, squish it. Sometimes I don't even bother like taking the skin off it. It just kind of comes off. Looks good. I've also got some thyme and sage. Yum! Loosely goose rough chop. Now my apple's looking awesome. Getting really soft and mushy. So I don't always like to make it a complete mush. So if you want it to keep going soft, and you can. And then I'm just gonna throw the frying pan back in, get it up to it's really hot and smoking. Smoking hot, bit more ghee in there. In goes our pork. Grab our herbs. Toss it on. 5 minutes one side, maybe flip it, another 3 minutes, and give it rest time. And then in your belly. Heck yeah, smelling fantastic. All right, so at this point, my meat's pretty much cooked. It's maybe got a couple more seconds in the Gozney. I'm actually gonna throw my apple back in and around it. Oh yeah, that smells in-freaking-credible. Bit of garlic, bit of thyme. The real question is, I mean, it looks good. We eat with our eyes first, but does it taste good? Although I'll just be the happy beneficiary here and give my own cooking a little rating. Oh, bit of apple, super tender, caramelized cooked apple that just adds that beautiful like tart sweet flavor with the pork. Imagine this place though back in the day, no cars here, just this.
Crazy.
So sick.